thank God that that game is over. Holy crap. I'm just relieved that preseason is done at this point because what a boring, crappy end to the preseason. The Winnipeg Jets fall by a score of 3-1 to the Calgary Flames in the rubber match of the back-to-back games, or the home away from home series that they played to end preseason. The Winnipeg Jets winning the last game and Calgary winning this game. And honestly, where to even start with this game? There are elements to this game that I like. Like like I always say, preseason doesn't matter if you get blown out 100-1. If there's some individual performance that is a pretty good performance, even though I doubt there can be in a 100-1 game, but I digress, then I think that's a positive, right? You in preseason, you focus on the little things. You look at individual performances. You look how certain systems mesh, power plays, and whatever. So because of that, I can pull away positives from this game. But only because of that reason can I pull away positives from this game. If this was a regular season game, then holy crap, I would be just so annoyed at the Winnipeg Jets from how they played tonight. And let's just get into it. So, starting off with the first period, Evgeny Svechnikov gets the scratch, which I think is a little disrespectful by the coaching staff to do that. Now, hear me out. He's been really good, especially coming in on a PTO, especially like the injuries in his past with his career and everything, and I think he fit really well in Winnipeg. I think it would have been good to see him play all 6 preseason games. I believe he would have been the only Winnipeg Jet to play in every preseason game, so I think that says a lot about how well the coaching staff liked him. But instead, he gets taken out, and then Evgeny Tadinov. God, I can't even say the right names of this game. My brain is just so melted and bored after it. Either way, Dominic Toninato comes in instead of Evgeny Svechnikov, and honestly, I would have preferred to see Svech, but it's not like Toninato did that much either. So moving on from that, from the start of the game, and at the start of the game, Pionk takes a penalty. 40 seconds in, the Flames are up 1-0, and from that exact moment in the game, I knew we were going to lose. And I didn't really care, but I just wanted to see them at least try to battle a little bit. And there were times where the Jets tried to battle. But unfortunately, like my minor hockey league team when I was a kid, they took more penalties than I could count. It was like, I'm not saying they weren't calls. I know the league is trying to be a little bit more strict on penalties this year, especially those cross-checking ones. I get that, and I like the consistency in preseason so far. But wake up, boys. If you're trying to, it just was so slow and back and forth, and it was just not a fun game to watch. Way too many penalties. I want to actually know the exact number of penalties that the Winnipeg Jets took. I'm pulling up the stat sheet right now. It was, horrible. 4 each. 4 each. 8 penalties called in this game for both teams combined. That's ridiculous. It's preseason, I know, but so boring and slow. And then the Jets just really didn't look good at all in their own zone tonight, in my opinion. The defense was sloppy. They left Hellebuck out to dry. And talking about Connor Hellebuck, he wasn't that impressive tonight. Now, I see some more people going a little bit harder on Connor Hellebuck than I will. Personally, because it's preseason, I don't really care, and I have seen a lot of good in his game, and we'll get it off right off the back. In the first period, in my opinion, Connor Hellebuck was mediocre. The second and third, I think Connor Hellebuck showed a lot of good promise, especially in the third period, and I would say in that mid part of the second, he looked pretty good. He made some really good key stops to help kind of keep the Jets somehow in it, even though we all knew that they weren't in it. But either way, he looked okay at times, so I'm not going to go into depth on Connor Hellebuck. I think that he was okay tonight, and it doesn't really matter because it's preseason, and he'll obviously get better as time progresses, and with the regular season right around the corner with the season opener against Anaheim, I expect for him to be ready to go and to see the Connor Hellebuck of old come back to form. So other than that, I would say the first period, the other thing I could say that was okay is they had good zone entries at times. That was the only positive thing I can really pull from that first period, is that the Winnipeg Jets were able to move the puck pretty well into their offensive zone at times, into the Calgary zone at times. The problem was they couldn't do anything when they got there. When they actually got set up, it was very stale. They weren't able to get a lot of puck movement, a lot of cross-ice passes tonight. Jansen Harkins at times looked okay in that top 6, but for the majority of the game, which, let's be real, a couple of times he was good, but for way more of the majority, he wasn't that good up there. A lot of cross-ice passes. He just didn't look very comfortable there. And I didn't like Adam Lowry tonight either. I know he kind of looked okay at times, but this whole team just looked off tonight. I don't know if it was the last preseason game, so they didn't care, or what the situation was. It wasn't a very interesting game, I would say. I would say that the last game, the Jets looked better with that roster that they rolled out than they did in this one. But the other thing that I guess we should talk about is Nikolai Ehlers. Nikolai Ehlers headed to the dressing room in the second after an awkward collision with Andrew Mangiapane, but he came back to the bench, and then I believe a couple plays later than that, or maybe 10 minutes later, or whatever it was, he gets high-sticked and he catches it on the eyelid. He seemed okay, but he did not come back in the third period for precautionary reasons. That's what everyone's saying right now. He's not injured, but why risk injuring your best forward when it's the last preseason game? So good on the coaching staff for, telling Ehlers to sit his ass in the dressing room and making sure that he was okay with that precautionary pull for that rest of that third period. So I'm okay there. I think Ehlers is fine. And, we're not going to talk too much about that because he's okay. Thank God he's okay, right? If Nikolai Ehlers was gone, when I first saw that he went off into the dressing room after the Mangiapane hit, I was just not feeling it at all. I felt sick. I was like, you got to be kidding me. After the last game that he had, and then he comes in, he looks pretty good in this game too. For that to happen in preseason, oh man, I would have been raging so hard if that had happened. But thank God it didn't, because Nikolai Ehlers is our best player, and he looks like he'll be healthy and ready to go against Anaheim on Tuesday. I don't remember the top of my head. I need to look this up in a bit in advance, but I also don't really care because I still have 5 days and a long weekend before that game. So moving on from that, though, I don't even know what else to talk about. Like, I'm looking at my notes, I'm thinking about the game in my head, and I'm like, well, what do you guys want to hear? And I guess you guys want to hear the positives at this point. You're 5 minutes in, almost 6 minutes in, so let's talk about some positives. And the one positive that I saw tonight that really stood out from puck drop to the buzzer in that third was Cole Perfetti. Cole Perfetti was fantastic tonight. Like, I genuinely mean that. He was good in every single zone. He was good in the defensive zone, the neutral zone, the offensive zone. Every zone he made plays that contributed to good offensive reads, good defensive reads, and just good overall hockey reads that, ended up becoming a good play. They didn't really score off of a lot of these plays. Obviously, Logan Stanley was the only one to get that goal tonight from Nate Schmidt in the third period, which, again, whatever. They scored a goal at least. Logan Stanley getting a goal. Hopefully he can get that shot, more on net. He had I think he had the highest shot total for the Winnipeg Jets defenseman last night, even more than last season, even more than Neil Pionk. So if he can get some of those shots to actually hit the can this season, I think his point total will go up, and that'd be really good to have and see just from his development if Logan Stanley is going to be that guy to come in and play with Dylan DeMello in that third pairing, which by the looks of it, it will be. Even though Ville Heinola played tonight, and I did like Ville Heinola's game, I didn't see enough really to warrant Paul Maurice giving him a spot. In my mind, I would just give him the spot, see how he starts with it, but in reality, Paul Maurice doesn't work that way, and that's just not how the National Hockey League works, unfortunately. So I don't think he plays with the Jets to start the season. He might be in the press box. I know Paul said that everyone on the team currently right now on the roster is a Winnipeg Jet. They will play on the Jets at some point in this season. So hopefully that'll mean Ville Heinola will somehow come up. But if he's just going to be in the press box, I'd rather him play the whole season on the Moose. I genuinely mean that. I don't want to see him waste away playing maybe 12, 15 games with the Winnipeg Jets this year, sitting the rest of them out and barely playing any of their hockey between practices and whatnot. So Ville Heinola tonight looked okay, but I don't think he warranted enough to earn a spot with the Winnipeg Jets going into the regular season. And then, like I said, Cole Perfetti was fantastic. Ville looked okay. Hellebuck was able to make some good saves and keep the Jets in it at times. I felt like Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor were kind of able to get some chemistry going tonight. Obviously, they didn't score or nothing, but I felt like they were making a little bit more connecting passes, and they just looked a little bit more confident up there and looked kind of like how they've looked in the past with that chemistry, so that's important to see them getting that back. Obviously, Blake Wheeler not in this game today, so top six looked a little bit different. Andrew Kopp, I thought, played okay at times, but again, wasn't all that impressive. And another guy I didn't think was all that impressive was Paul Stastny. Now, Paul Stastny is also obviously an older player at this point on that one-year deal returning to the Jets. I think he'll have a good season. Will he match last year's point total? I don't know. It's going to be a wait and see, but I hope that he still has some gas left in the tank because I kind of thought he looked kind of flat in the preseason games that he played. Maybe it's just preseason and he's not going all his hardest because he knows he's got a guaranteed spot. I don't know. Either way, it wasn't the most amazing preseason performances by Paul Stastny, and neither was it tonight, but like I said, preseason, there were some good individual performances. Cole Perfetti looked good, and I think that's a bigger win than even that the Jets won, because who cares, it's preseason, so I think that that's basically going to wrap up my thoughts. This was a boring game, and it seems like a boring recap, so I hope you were able to enjoy it and find something knowledgeable out of my recap and reactions and thoughts on this game. So let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. What your thoughts were on this preseason game, on the preseason in general. Who did you think was the best standout? Who do you think was the worst player? Let me know all your thoughts about that stuff down in the comments section below. We're going to have a season preview videos coming out very soon, and we have some podcast episodes coming out with Twisted Wrister Hockey on Sunday, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving for all you Canadians watching out there, even though I know like 95% of my viewers are, so enjoy. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you have great dinners. Peace, love, and positivity to all you beautiful people out there in the world. Like I said, lots of Jets content coming your way. Your regular season's right around the corner. Finally can be done with this boring preseason and move on to the exciting stuff. American hockey teams finally playing a Canadian team again. Woo! Feels great. Feels like I haven't seen that in 20 years, even though the Montreal Canadiens played in the Cup final against an American team, but I digress. Have a great rest of your day. Go Jets, go, and bye-bye.